What's up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing. Got something interesting for you. So people asked me what was my opinion on the ritual support that we got, which was basically the newer version of the Mind Scheme Armageddon and Ruin Queen of Oblivion. Now, I still don't think that that's good enough. I don't think that these cards are going to take any ritual deck or strategy to be able to even surpass tier 2. The only ritual deck that I still think can keep up without the support that they gave us is Herald. So I came up with my own list of cards because people asked me what would you have preferred it to be. So here's my kind of petition to Konami. And I'm going to share this with you guys because this is what I feel like Konami should have made. If you're going to make ritual support, you need to make ritual support that's better than the stuff you released in the past. And that's actually going to take this deck to be able to be not only relevant, but to be piloted in a tier 2, minimum tier 2 event. It should not be tier 3 quality, you know, tier 3 material. So here's the first card. So I concocted 3 spells and 3 monsters that are generic for any ritual deck. So the first spell that I thought of is called Ultimate Ritual Art. Simple, right? I wanted to stick to that whole advanced ritual art, urgent ritual art kind of thing. So I have it written on a piece of paper and I'm going to read it to you guys. This is a weird video, but you know, if you want to stay tuned because this is something that I really think should happen. And I believe that I can make this happen if I just petition Konami myself personally. So this card reads as follows. This card can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster from your hand or your graveyard. So you can monster reborn your ritual monsters with this ritual spell. So it's used generically to ritual summon any ritual monster from hand or graveyard by sending up to 2 monsters from your deck or your graveyard, from your deck to your graveyard whose levels equal or exceed the ritual monster's level, or optional, you can banish monsters from either player's graveyards whose levels equal or exceed the level of that ritual monster. So those are your 2 options to ritual summon with this ritual spell. You can basically ARA, but you can use 2 monsters instead of 1. So you can use, you know, if you're ritual summoning a level 6, you can use 2 level 4s. Because remember, it says equal or exceed. And that can set you up for soul charge plays. That can set you up for all kinds of graveyard shenanigans. Just dumping 2 from deck to grave and deck thinning. Or you can banish monsters from either player's graveyards, as long as there's levels equal or exceed. And that has no restriction. See how the dumping from deck says up to 2 monsters, which means 1 or 2? The one that says banish monsters from the graveyard, either player's graveyard, there's no number. So if you're summoning, for example, a level 9 ritual monster, you can banish 3 Burning Abyss monsters from the grave. Just for example. And it gets better. Other than being a monster reborn, and also just a really good way to just have a ritual spell and a ritual monster and get your job done with those 2 cards, it also has an effect in the grave that says, if a ritual monsters or monster, plural with an S, would be destroyed, just destroyed. I just wrote down destroyed, meaning battle or card effect. Banish this card instead. So that protects your ritual monsters from Solemn Strike, Torrential, Mirror Force, Spiral, Sleeper, Time Pendulum Graph. If your opponent negates and destroys them, their effects will be negated, but they won't be destroyed. So I think Ultimate Ritual Art is still not that broken, but it should have been something that they made. So tell me what you guys think of this first one, but I'm going to continue moving on. And I want your honest opinion and feedback, and be realistic with me and tell me, do you think that these spells should be played, or do you think that it will just make rituals too broken? Because I feel like rituals haven't been good since Necros format. So we're going to continue. I named this spell Ascension or Sacrifice. It's a normal spell card. It says add 1 ritual spell or ritual monster from your deck or your graveyard or your banish zone. So when you activate this, you add a ritual spell or ritual monster from your deck, graveyard, or banish zone to your hand. So you can get a ritual spell or ritual monster from anywhere that your opponent, you can touch anything. And then it says you can banish this card from the graveyard, and it can be the same turn it's sent, to add 1 ritual spell or ritual monster from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. Then you receive 1,000 points, 1,000 life point damage. So basically you take 1,000 life points as a cost. Well, not really a cost, because you search first by banishing from the grave. You search, and then you take 1,000 damage. So the graveyard effect is optional, but if you do it, you're going to pay 1,000 life points in order to do so. And also, Ascension or Sacrifice is not hard once per turn. So you can play 3 of this in your deck and activate as many as you want. Play them like hotcakes. Play it, activate it from graveyard, banish, and it's immediately a +1. Which is really important. Ritual spells and just ritual archetypes in general, you normally utilize a lot of your resources just to make their plays. So I feel like Konami should make more cards like this that allow you to get just the pluses and also the resources to where you can ritual summon more than once without ending within one card in hand. Like if you ritual summon twice in almost any ritual deck, you end with one card in hand. Then that kind of sucks because there's decks that can fusion a billion times like Gem Knights. So I think Ascension or Sacrifice is not a bad card. I don't think it's overpowered. And I did want to add that take 1,000 damage and life points just to have it, you know, a little bit more balanced. Because even though I don't think it's too broken, someone else could say that. That's why I added in that you take 1,000 damage. This next card is called Prodigy's Prominence. And it's a quick play. It says discard one ritual spell card or banish one ritual monster from your hand or your graveyard for cost. So if you have a ritual spell in hand, you discard it. Or if you have a ritual monster in your hand, you can banish it. Or if you have a ritual monster in your graveyard, you can banish it. So those are the 3 ways you can fulfill the cost. To draw 2 cards. So this is Pantheism of Rituals. Then you can banish this card from the graveyard to add 1 ritual monster or ritual spell card from your graveyard to your hand. It's only from grave to hand. So the part from grave, it can't be Ash Blossomed, which is really cool. I wanted to add that in. And just balance it out. So it's kind of like Pantheism, except when you banish it, you don't get to search again, you get to recycle. So you can activate this, discard a ritual spell, draw 2, banish it the same turn it's sent to the graveyard, and then add that ritual spell back, which makes it become a +1. And you can activate this card as many times as you want. There's no hard once per turn restrictions on any of these cards at all. So you can play 3 Ascension or Sacrifice, and you can play 3 Prodigy's Prominence freely. So those are the 2 generic spells that help rituals to be better. Then we have my favorite part, which is actually the monsters. I'm going to take a seat. So for the monsters, or you know what, better yet, I'm going to stand up. So for the monsters, the first monster that I came up with, his name is Ganji of the Sacred Arts. He's a level 4 light fairy. He has 1800 attack and 2000 defense. I felt that we wanted to give him viable stats, but not make him too amazing. But I felt like these stats are pretty good compared to Manju and Senju being only 1400 attackers. And he's a level 4 light fairy, so he's like the 3rd generation of Senju or Manju. And his effect is great. It says once per turn, you can reveal 1 ritual spell or ritual monster to special summon this card from your hand or your graveyard. And I don't know why I put once per turn, because that's not a hard once per turn. You can, if you have 3 Ganjis in your hand, you can reveal the same ritual spell or ritual monster to special summon them all you want. I don't know why I put once per turn, but I guess it just works. It's not hard once per turn. So you can reveal 1 ritual spell or ritual monster to special summon this card from your hand or your graveyard. So you can Monster Reborn this guy just by revealing. Dang, I think I made him a little bit too broken. But even then, still, let's continue. If this card is summoned, discard 1 card for cost. And you can add up to 2 ritual spells or ritual monsters from your deck to your hand. So when I say up to 2, when you discard a card, so you already told you how you summon this guy. You can reveal ritual spell, ritual monster to bring him from the hand or your graveyard. And if this card is summoned, you discard 1 card and you can add up to 2 ritual spells. Or you can add 2 ritual monsters from your deck to your hand. So you add 2 cards and you discard 1 card. So you lose 2 cards from your hand and you get 2 cards. So you don't plus, but you get to search twice. Think of this like as our Melody of the Awakening Dragon. How you discard and add up to 2 dragons, but instead it's for rituals. And discarding is a cost. So if they Ash Blossom him, you take a -1, right? And he gets himself on the field pretty easily. Also, he has another effect that says you can banish this card from the graveyard, shuffle all ritual spells and ritual monsters from your graveyard to your deck, then draw 1 card. The only part about Ganji that's hard once per turn is his effect that says if this card summoned, discard a card and add up to 2 ritual spells or ritual monsters from deck to your hand. You can only activate this effect in particular once per turn. But his other effect to reveal the special, you can do it as many times as you want. And also his effect to banish yourself from the grave and shuffle all ritual spells and all ritual monsters from your graveyard to your deck and draw 1 card. Both of those effects are not hard once per turn. So you can abuse your Ganjis pretty good. Getting him on the field to make rank 4s, to make link summoning. So this will allow ritual decks to actually link spam. Because if you can get 1 monster on field and a Ganji, you can link with those and the Ganji into a proxy, then reveal the special Ganji, link with him again, reveal the special Ganji, link with him again. I made him pretty broken. But even still, he's not generic, and that's what makes him not broken, because he can only be played in a ritual deck. So that's what's going to make him more fair and more balanced, because he's not going to be some generic card like Level Eater that everybody can use. So I still feel that this card is fair because he's pretty balanced. But I feel like I wanted to make cards that are actually above decent and that fit the caliber of tier 2 or even 1.5 or 1. Now the next monster, his name is True Anji of Preparations. He's a level 4 Light Fairy with 0 attack and 2100 defense. You can only summon this card once per turn. The turn this card is summoned, all ritual monsters cannot be targeted for attacks or card effects and cannot be destroyed by battle. I'm sorry, I'm going to read that again. I messed it up. You can only summon this card once per turn. The turn this card is summoned, all ritual monsters you currently control cannot be targeted for attack or card effects and cannot be destroyed. So basically your opponent cannot attack them, cannot target them, and cannot destroy them by any means necessary. So they have to use like an Ignister or something that doesn't target or destroy. And it's just the turn that he summoned. So if you're going for the kill or if you're playing under back row, it's broken. I'm sorry. It's until the end of your next turn. Okay, I get it. So it's until the end of your next turn. So if you summon this guy, all your rituals are basically under an Azure Eye Silver Dragon kind of like effect. And he gets even better. Other than him summoning himself and protecting all your cards, and he's just a normal summon, he can't special himself. So you have to use your normal summon on him, which makes him more balanced. He says, if this card is summoned, immediately ritual summon one ritual monster from your hand or your graveyard by using only this card as the entire tribute, and you don't need to use a ritual spell to do this. So if I have Herald of Perfection in my hand and I summon Chuanji, I'll protect anything that's on the field, and then immediately after that, he's going to tribute himself and ritual summon my Herald from my hand or ritual summon it from the graveyard, and it's still treated as a ritual summon. So this one card is like a ritual spell. So Chuanji's pretty cool. I like him. I wanted to make something like a little different other than just searching. And both of his effects, not both of his effects, they're basically both of his effects are going to be hard once per turn, even though I didn't put that because I put in his restriction that you can only summon this card once per turn to make them balanced, because that kind of would have been fair if you could find some way to loop your Chuanjis, because then you'd be looping Ganjis and Chuanjis. So that's for Chuanji. And then the final card that I have is called Resource Hermit, like Hermit Crab. So Resource Hermit is a level 1 Light Fairy. So your Ben 10, if you're playing Heralds or Cyber Angel, can search all of these. They're all Light Fairies. He says as follow. He's broken. He has 1500 attack and 0 defense. And he says you can discard one card for cost, and then you have to steal part of cost, reveal one ritual spell or ritual monster in your hand to special summon this card. So you have to discard a card and then reveal a ritual spell or ritual monster in order to special summon this card. But he's not hard once per turn in any means necessary. And then it says this monster is always treated as the entire tribute for any ritual summon of any ritual monster. If this card is tributed, add one ritual spell or ritual monster from your deck or your graveyard to your hand, then draw one card. So he's not a plus, but he is a plus because he pays for himself by searching, and then you get a plus by drawing. So Resource Hermit is really, really powerful, being a level 1 Light Fairy that can summon itself to the field with ease and being the entire tribute for any ritual monster. And if you tribute him, you add one ritual spell or ritual monster from deck or graveyard to your hand, then you draw a card. So you search and then draw. So that's pretty much it for all the generic ritual support that I created myself, that I feel like Konami should have went this direction. They didn't have to make identical replicas of these cards, but they should have made something like this. They should have gave us spells and monsters that are generic for any ritual archetype that are actually good. And that's pretty much it for the video. I know it's a strange video. I apologize that I don't have the best quality videos. I'm not really like, up there. I don't have all the good equipment, but I'm planning on getting it very soon. So for those of you who are kind of like disappointed with the quality, I'm sorry. And also just keep in mind that it's only going to get better. And while I don't have the equipment now, I definitely plan on getting it because I feel like that's the only thing that's keeping me from being great, is not having the proper equipment and not having high quality videos. But aside from that, the knowledge is there, the information, the entertainment's there. If you pay attention and watch these videos, you'll always be able to learn something. And also sometimes you just might be, surprised, or you might just be entertained. I mean, I'm not funny or anything like that, but some people feel that my videos are entertaining to watch. But that concludes what 3 Stacks thinks ritual monsters or ritual decks in general should have got as generic support. And I definitely feel that I need to petition Konami in order to get some kind of cards like this. But I really want them to make replicas of the cards that I wrote down, because I feel like these cards, if these cards come to fruition and they exist, I'm putting every one of these cards in my Herald of Perfection deck, and I'm playing Heralds every format, no matter what. And I also would prefer these cards to be a bare minimum of super rare or ultras. That's just me. But peace out, y'all. I love you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content, and you'll be hearing from me soon. Also, if you're going to Lubbock Regionals, you'll see me there. Peace.